Hey Meg, before we get started, look at this shoe and how this matches it.
Wow. Look at that. What flavor? Raspberry salt.
Raspberry salt
Matches
element.
perfectly with the Vomero lineup.
Just before we get started, we want to let you know about our sponsor, Element.
Yeah, so we've been using this stuff all summer. It's been saving our lives. In each packet, there is 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. So you are replenishing all your electrolytes that you need during those warm, long runs. You said nothing.
You said it all.
So if you want to try the stuff that we use all the time, you can go to drinklmnt.com/thedrop and you can get a free sample pack.
Hi, I'm Thomas with Believe in the Run.
This is Megan with Believe in the Run.
And we're talking about a really cool shoe. Really cool. I say it's really cool. You think it's cool?
I think it's super cool.
All right, super cool shoe that we first saw at the running event late last year. We've been dying to try it. It fits right into your favorite category of Max Cush, Meg. It's the Nike Vomero Premium.
I was wondering if you got the name there for a second.
It is tough because you have to think there's the Vomero Plus, and now the Premium. Should we talk about those first, or should we get into the review?
I guess we can give a quick little rundown of what we have here. So Nike sort of changed their whole landscape of shoes and how they're talking about them, and there's now 3 buckets. You have the Pegasus, which is like the performance side.
The daily.
Yeah, you have Structure, which is for
Stability.
structure and stability, and then you have Vomero.
Vomero's your Cush.
Yeah, so this is by far my favorite silo, if you will. And like Thomas was saying, it comes with 3 iterations within that. So you have the classic standard Vomero, which I think this update is great. What number are we on? 18.
It's a good update. I feel like it's a decent shoe. It's a decent daily trainer, but it feels a little flat and slappy, especially when you start going up and add the Plus to it.
Yeah, so the Plus is sort of the enhanced version of the Vomero.
Enhanced. Yeah, I like that.
It's got more cushion, more ZoomX.
A little more bounce.
A little more bounce.
This is also for those of you who liked the Invincible. A lot of people think this is just what the next Invincible would have been, and
Yeah.
I have to agree. But what I didn't like about the Invincible was it was a little unstable, and they kind of fixed it in this shoe, giving it a wider base, and it does feel a lot more stable, and the bounce in this ZoomX is pretty nice. Should we talk about ZoomX foam and how it's not all created equal?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so when we first heard about ZoomX, we associated it with the Vaporfly, the Alpha Fly, and we pretty much thought of it as a P-Bax-based foam. We found out from talking to Nike that not all ZoomX is P-Bax anymore.
Yeah, so basically what's in the Vomero line is a ZoomX version made from a TPE foam. It's still very bouncy, but it's not going to be that like wrinkly foam that you see in the race day shoes.
I don't know, I'm actually starting to find a lot of the shoes using ETPE and some of those other foams in their race day shoes. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're thinking the Adidas line, you're thinking Puma. I think Asics is using it as well.
Yeah.
So it's a really good foam. It's resilient. It's durable. It's got a huge amount of energy return. And then you slap 2 giant airbags in this thing, and we start to get crazy.
Yeah, so the Vomero Premium is exactly like it sounds. It's the premium tier of the Vomero lineup. So, you know, most stack, most cushion, plushest feel,
Highest height.
most expensive, the version of the Vomero.
We'll get to that price point, but let's get into this upper real quick, Meg. We have a mesh upper here. What did you think?
So I love this upper. It feels like that true max cushion upper where you have highly padded tongue, plenty of cushioning around the collar. The step-in feel was nice. It's really quite wide and had plenty of space for my toes to spread out, and I thought it fit true to size.
So for you, the really wide part is great. For me, I had to cinch it down pretty good and didn't quite get the exact lockdown I would have liked. It ended up working out just fine. There's plenty of plushness to kind of mask some of the fitting issues between a really fat tongue and this fat heel collar. I really did love, though, in this upper, that they're kind of playing around with some of the brand marks that are cool from Nike. So if you remember the basketball sneakers that have the Air written on the side, you can barely see it here, but in the side of the shoe, they've got the Air on the side. Just really nice details. Like even on the midsole and outsole, there's some hidden little gems. Overall, it looks and feels like a premium shoe.
Yeah, I would have to agree. The one knock I might give the upper is that you do have multiple layers here, and it is kind of warm. So the other morning when
it got hot out?
When it got hot out, I just noticed that, you know, my feet warmed up pretty good.
I actually didn't have that issue. Maybe I was wearing different socks than you. It didn't seem to be overly stifling or anything like that. It does have an attached tongue, so it's gusseted on the sides. Like, it really does feel premium as far as it goes. And what's surprising is, like, I pulled out the footbed just to see how cushioned it was, because you are getting so much cush out of this shoe. I thought maybe they were cheating it a little bit with the footbed, but no, it's just got a thin footbed. It's not anything that's like unusual with the cush. All the cushioning is coming from this midsole, Meg.
Yeah, so you have 55 millimeters of stack in the heel.
I think it's 55.5. They love doing the 0.5s now.
Okay.
Why are they doing this?
45 in the forefoot.
0.5.
So just a ton of stack underfoot. Obviously a 10 millimeter drop. And then you have these two Air pods, one in the heel and one in the forefoot.
I think they're Air Zoom units.
Air Zoom units, which I don't think we've seen in a running shoe before.
Double pods?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Pegasus Premium, it had one continuous, front to back pod. This is kind of interesting because they kind of act independently of each other. So I thought that was a different sensation than you got out of the Pegasus Premium. Pegasus Premium, you got a nice roll, like cloud bounce all the way through the stride, which I really enjoyed. This one more is, like I said, independent, so you can feel it in the forefoot, and then you can feel it when you're going downhill. I felt it because pretty much a midfoot striker, and this is kind of a rockered bottom. But when going downhill and braking, I definitely felt the Air Zoom unit in the back.
Yeah, so the inspiration behind this shoe, we were told, were the anti-gravity treadmills. So those treadmills that sort of remove your body weight when you're running.
Usually you're injured.
Yeah, usually they're not fun because you're injured, but essentially they wanted to take that recovery process and sensation and put it into a shoe, and that's sort of why you're feeling that sensation, or I think the attempt of that sensation.
All right, so why don't you tell me, you love cushioning, what is the sensation that you got out of this shoe? Because I still remember the first run I went out in these, what I kind of was like, whoa.
I mean, the first thing to me is they felt like little trampolines, like little bouncy trampolines. It's definitely a propulsive sensation. So you're compressing the shoe for sure, and then you're getting that pop back.
This is one of the more responsive feeling techs that we've had in here. It's actually kind of what I was hoping the Adidas Prime X would feel like.
Yeah.
Like you really get a bounce out of it. This feels not like cheating, but
it's not World Athletic approved.
That is true. They wrote it right here on the back. It does have a bounce. And speaking of which, we have a friend, Ben Johnson, who some people probably have heard of. He ran the Sydney Marathon in this and ran a 2:46 marathon in this, which blows my mind because this is not the lightest shoe.
Yeah, so while we're on weights, we can go ahead and talk about it. My women's 7.5 came in at 9.6 ounces or 273 grams.
This big boy, 12.8 ounces or 365 grams. That's a gram every day for an entire year.
Yeah, so it's definitely not the lightest shoe out there, but what I did like and I felt was a little bit different from the Prime X that you were just talking about is that the weight feels a little bit more evenly distributed in this shoe because you do have this substantial upper, so not all of the weight feels like it's underneath the foot.
The bounce does help with the weight. And it's interesting because a lot of times Meg likes the cushion shoes, and I always feel like I can't pick up the pace in the Max cushion shoes. I feel like there's a little bit of running through sand kind of feeling to it. This one though, most of my runs ended up being progressive runs, and if you looked at my splits, I continually got faster through the run. And when you do want to kind of pick it up, and this is where I'm like, okay, so maybe it's not so crazy. Ben ran 2:46.
Still kind of
crazy. Because the shoe does flow with your stride, and that bounce that you're getting off these pads really reinforces that quick turnover so you can pick up the pace.
Yeah, I also just think it adds to that fun factor that we kind of always talk about. Like, this is a shoe that you get excited to lace up in the morning and go for a run because you know you're going to have this bouncy experience out on the roads. And we didn't talk about it, but this outsole, there's a ton of rubber coverage.
Full rubber
here.
coverage.
So, I mean, you're going to get tons and tons of miles out of this shoe.
This is where it comes in, is kind of like, okay, it's $220.
Yes.
And
it's premium.
I'm like, where does this fit in? And I'm kind of like, would I recommend this over the Vomero Plus? I think this is more versatile. I think you get more use out of the Plus than you're going to get out of the Premium, because I would pretty much save the Premium for myself for recovery days and long, slow distance run. This would be a great shoe for that.
Yeah, I do think use case wise, there's a lot of overlap here between the two shoes, between the Vomero Plus and the Premium. I definitely don't think anyone would need both shoes. I think this would be a case of preference here.
How soft do you want to go?
Yeah, and maybe how much do you want to spend, and what sort of underfoot feeling do you want? Do you want this bouncy, squishy feeling, or do you want more of a traditional max cushion shoe?
Oh, well, the other question is, anybody want less height?
A lot of people do. In fact, they'll probably come in the comments and say, we're done with all the high stack height.
I don't know. I love putting on a shoe that gives me an inch and a half of height.
I'm here for it.
Like, it's really nice to be able to almost dunk in these.
Yeah.
And when I say almost dunk, I could probably grab the bottom of the net at this point.
Okay.
But the extra height is fun. The look of this shoe, I think, is killer. So let's break it down to our form, fit, and function, Meg.
Yeah.
What do you give it for form, which also talks about weight?
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to knock it for. Out of 5, I'm going to give it a 4, and it's primarily for that weight. 9.6 ounces is pretty heavy for a shoe in my size, and I do think you notice it, and especially if you are doing those slow, long runs, I think probably towards the end of those runs, you might notice it a little bit more.
Yeah, one of my runs in this shoe, I wasn't feeling the greatest, and that's when I felt the weight the most. Other days when I was feeling fine, the shoe turns over. I am going to knock it for it because I really think if you could get this down, it's at 12.8. Even if you just lost like an ounce and a half, got it down a little lower, this shoe would be a viable almost, it's so bouncy, a mid-pack marathon shoe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ben Johnson, front of the pack.
Front pack.
All right, so fit, I'm actually going to give this one a 5 out of 5. I thought the fit was great. No hot spots, no issues, super plush, tongue and collar, nice and wide for my feet, and yeah, I thought it worked great.
All right, I'm giving it a 4. I'm knocking it for being a little bit on the wide side for me to get the laces and the fit the way I wanted. I really had to crank it down. Also, I kind of feel like the puffy tongue, while it fits the idea of the shoe being a comfortable, cushioned ride, it might also hide some fit issues by just packing it in there and like making it thicker around the collar and the over the top of the foot. So I'm going to knock it a little bit, give it a 4. I think there's some room for improvement here.
All right, and then finally, function. I'm going to give this one a 4. I think it's great for recovery. I think it's great for those easy days. I'm not going to use this for speed work. I'm sure you probably could. And then also the thing we did.
You're not doing track workouts in this?
No, and part of that is one thing we didn't really talk about is the stability in this shoe. And while it is 55 millimeters, it actually was pretty wide and it felt pretty stable given that it's that high. But I don't know, Robbie might feel otherwise.
I think Robbie does feel otherwise. I'm also going to give it a 4, mostly for versatility. If I was to say to someone, hey, there's one shoe you're going to get, go get this guy, I don't know that I would do that. Like if a neighbor came to us and said, hey, I want to get a running shoe, would you give them this as their first option?
If you want to have fun.
Yeah. All right.
Break
so
some
maybe for
ankles.
that. But I'm going to give it a 4 for that, which isn't really docking it that hard for being such a niche shoe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, that's a total of 12. For you, that's a total of?
13.
All right.
Out of 15. So pretty high marks for this guy. We've been excited to get this shoe. I had the chance to try it early on and did like 1 lap around in it, and it was super fun, and so I was excited to actually get out there and do some miles in it.
You keep putting it on.
Yeah, I think that's the key as well, is We do have some other shoes to review right now, and I was just kept lacing this one up and wanting to run in it. So
Yeah, like the Peg Premium, I think it's going to be a divisive shoe. People are going to be like, it's not real running shoe. You know, it's got too much visible tech.
This
It's
is
got the
runnable.
airbag. This, my friends, just try it. Go to the store, try it on your feet, see what it's like to jog across the floor. I think you'll get an idea of how fun this shoe can be. It's definitely the one that like this is an experience shoe. You want to try this. You're not going to try anything else that feels like this on your foot.
unless you're on an anti-gravity treadmill,
I think that'll even feel different.
that'll feel different.
Anyhow, if you like the video, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Meg, where else can people interact with the Believe and Run team?
You can find us on social. We're on Instagram. We have a Strava group. Of course, we have our website. So if you prefer your reviews in written form, you can go to believeintherun.com. Check them all out there. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter, which comes out every Friday and gives you a recap of everything we discussed that week.
All right. Do we need to do any sponsor stuff?
Oh, we have to do one element. Do you want
This is,
I was gonna bring
yeah,
it up.
let's
We'll do
do
that.
it at the beginning. All right. Sorry. All right. So thanks for watching.